Today I want to talk about something we all experience every single day, but rarely stop to think about. The internet didn't just become a tool, it quietly became our public square. For most of human history, societies had physical places where public conversations happened. Town squares, markets, coffeehouses, public forums, places where people shared information, debated ideas, and argued about the future of their communities. But those conversations didn't happen in a vacuum. Over time, societies built structures around how public information was shared. Newspapers had editorial oversight. Television networks had standards departments. Journalists issued corrections when errors occurred. Those systems weren't perfect, but they did create something important: a shared awareness of events and basic accountability for the information being presented. Even when people disagreed about what something meant, they were often reacting to the same basic information environment. Today, that shared starting point is much harder to find. Most of those conversations no longer happen in physical spaces. They happen online because the internet isn't just where information travels anymore. It's where public life happens.
From anyone, we stand American together.
When we hear the phrase public square, we often picture something historical, maybe an old European plaza or a colonial town center. But a public square isn't defined by bricks or cobblestone. It's simply a place where people exchange information, discuss ideas, argue about issues, and influence one another's thinking. For most of history, that happened in physical spaces. But today, those conversations happen somewhere else. They happen on social media, online news platforms, video channels, comment sections, messaging apps. And in this new environment, almost anyone can publish an idea instantly, which means something really important has happened. The internet didn't just change how information spreads. It changed where society talks to itself. When conversation moves online, something else changes too: visibility. In a physical town square, the people influencing conversation were limited to those physically present. But online, one post can reach millions. One video can shape how thousands of people understand an issue. One rumor can travel across the world in hours. That scale changes everything, because ideas now move through society faster than they ever have before. Sometimes that speed is incredibly powerful in positive ways. People can share knowledge, solve problems together, raise awareness about real issues, and connect across cultures and countries. The internet has allowed voices to be heard that might never have had a platform before. Sometimes I think about how different access to information used to be. When I was 21, I was living in Rabat, Morocco. And one day I decided I wanted to make a cheesecake. Now today, if that thought pops into my head, I would just grab my phone and type how to make cheesecake. But in 1989, there was no internet. I didn't even have a phone in my apartment. If my family called from the United States, the message would come through the office at the American Language Center where I was teaching. And a cookbook with cheesecake in it? Not exactly easy to find in Morocco. So if I wanted a recipe, I had to wait. Eventually my mom mailed one to me. And that's when I discovered something surprising. Cheesecake didn't come from a box. Apparently, cheesecake is something you make from scratch and bake in the oven. Who knew? And for the record, I was 21 and not exactly an expert cook. But here's the funny part. Now, decades later, during Ramadan especially, I sometimes miss Moroccan food, things my Moroccan family used to make, like harira or shabekia. And when that happens today, I can just search for the recipe. People all over the world are sharing how to make those dishes. That's the shift we sometimes forget. The internet didn't just make information easier to find. It created a place where people all over the world can share knowledge with each other. And when millions of people are sharing ideas, information, and experience in the same place, that place starts to function a lot like something history has seen before. A public square. Those are real gifts, but the scale and speed also create new challenges. In the past, most information that reached large audiences passed through some kind of gate. Editors, producers, news organizations, professional standards. Those systems weren't perfect, but they did slow things down. Today, almost anyone can publish something that reaches millions of people without those same filters in place. That changes how information moves through the public square, because the systems that decide what we see online don't primarily reward accuracy. They reward attention. The modern internet runs on something called the attention economy. Platforms are designed to keep people engaged because engagement drives something very valuable: advertising revenue, platform growth, and ultimately profit. So the systems behind the scenes learn something very quickly. They learn what people react to, what gets clicks, what gets comments, what gets shared. And then those systems start promoting more of that. Because the more people react, the longer they stay. And the longer people stay, the more valuable the platform becomes. Sometimes that means helpful information spreads quickly, but sometimes it means something else spreads faster. Outrage, fear, simplified narratives, or emotionally charged claims. Not necessarily because those things are true. They reward attention. And attention is one of the most profitable resources on the internet, which means something subtle begins to happen. The public square starts amplifying what people react to most strongly, not necessarily what helps people understand an issue together, because the system isn't optimized for shared understanding. It's optimized for engagement. It's uncomfortable to admit, but the internet doesn't just shape us. We shape it too. Truth check. Every click, every share, every comment. Those actions feed signals into the system. And over time, those signals influence what spreads. There's another piece of this that's easy to overlook. The internet doesn't just change what spreads. It also changes how we interact with each other. When we talk face to face, we're constantly receiving signals from the other person. Their expression, their tone, their body language, those signals help us regulate how we speak. They remind us there's a human being standing right in front of us. But online, most of those signals disappear. We're often looking at words on a screen, not a person. And when that happens, something subtle changes. Conversations can become faster, sharper, less patient, not necessarily because people are trying to be cruel, but because the environment removes many of the cues that normally help us stay thoughtful. When the human face disappears, empathy gets quieter. Truth check. That doesn't mean people online are worse than people in real life, but it does mean the environment makes it easier to forget something important. There's still another human being on the other side of the screen. When we realize the internet functions as a public square, something important becomes clear. We can't control everything that happens there, and we definitely can't control what other people choose to believe. But we do have influence over something smaller and surprisingly powerful: our own participation. The things we reward, the things we amplify, the things we pause before sharing. Many people assume the internet is something happening to them, but in reality, we are part of the environment shaping it, not individually, but collectively. Millions of small decisions happening every day. The internet doesn't decide what our public square becomes. We do, a little at a time. Truth check. And that influence doesn't come from controlling other people. It comes from something much smaller, where we place our attention. And one of the simplest ways to do that is by learning to pause and ask a few small questions. Not complicated research, just quick mental checkpoints. Because when information moves this fast, questions are one of the most powerful tools we have. Here are a few that can help. For example, sometimes the most helpful place to start is simply with the source. Where did this information come from? Is the source clearly identified, or is the claim being passed along without anyone taking responsibility for it? Another helpful question is about verification. Has this claim been confirmed anywhere else? Do other credible sources report the same information? And when organizations make mistakes, which every organization eventually does, are they transparent about correcting them? We can also ask questions about structure. Is what I'm looking at reporting or commentary? Does the headline actually match the evidence being presented? And sometimes the most important question isn't about the information at all. It's about our own reaction. Am I responding to the information itself or to the emotion the post created? Those questions don't slow the internet down, but they can slow us down. And sometimes that small pause is enough to change what we reward with attention. Asking better questions doesn't control the internet, but it does change how we move through it. These questions might seem simple, but they quietly change how we participate in the information space around us. Because when we slow down long enough to ask them, we're not just protecting ourselves from misinformation. We're influencing what rises in the conversation. And when enough people start doing that, it begins to shape the kind of public square we create together. So here's what I've been thinking about lately. We often talk about the internet like it's some uncontrollable force, like it's something happening completely outside of us. But when I stop and think about it honestly, I realize that every time I click something, every time I share something, every time I react to something, I'm participating in the public square. I'm helping signal what deserves attention. That doesn't mean any one person controls the system, but it does mean we're part of the environment shaping it. And when enough people begin thinking about that, even small choices start to matter. Because over time, those small signals influence what rises, what spreads, and what fills the space where our public conversations now happen. When you think about the internet as our modern public square, what changes for you? Do you find yourself being more intentional about what you click on or share? Or does the speed of information online make that difficult? This week, try one small experiment. Before sharing something online, pause for a moment and ask yourself one question. Do I actually want to reward this with more attention? Not because we have to agree with everything, but because attention is one of the most powerful signals in today's public square. And being thoughtful about where we place it can quietly shape the environment around us. This channel isn't about censoring or forcing people to agree. It's about slowing down long enough to really listen, understand different perspectives, and approach discussions with thoughtful reflection together. I welcome different views, I really do, but I expect respect. If you disagree, explain why. If you see it differently, share your perspective. Here, our differences are strengths, and they're starting points for deeper understanding, not weapons. And if you'd like a little extra help shaping your reply, I've linked my 3 Ps in Action comment edition in the description. It's the same process I use myself to pause, pinpoint truth, and proceed with purposeful forethought. Don't worry about reading all this here. The full list of sources is in the description and on my site, American-Together.com. I share them because checking sources matters just as much as checking headlines. The internet didn't just give us new tools. It quietly became our public square. And like every public square in history, the culture of that space is shaped by the people inside it. Every click, every share, every reaction. Over time, those small signals shape what rises in the conversation. So maybe the real question isn't, can we control what happens online? Maybe the better question is, what kind of public square do we want to help create? Because the internet became our public square. And the truth is, we shape what it becomes. If you found this episode helpful, hit the thumbs up, share it with a friend, and consider subscribing and joining the conversation. Because learning how information spreads and how we participate in that process is something that affects all of us. Remember, pause, pinpoint truth, proceed with purposeful forethought. Join the conversation. See you next time.